Hey everyone, welcome back to Electrolysis Unplugged, your favorite after hours chat for all things hair removal, education, and elevating the industry. I'm Joanie.
And I'm Stephanie. And today we are bringing a game-changing conversation for both students and seasoned pros. We're talking vision, not just your dream practice, but your actual vision precision when doing insertions, identifying skin tone differences, and preventing fatigue.
We're joined by Jaci from Design for Vision, one of the most trusted names in magnification and lighting for clinical professionals. They've been in everything from dental offices to surgical suites, and now they're lighting the way for electrologists.
Let's jump in. Good evening, everybody. So as you guys get in here, we have a special guest with us today. Jaci from Design for Vision is going to be talking to you guys about loops and your options there. So before we move further, we're just going to make sure that everybody's all situated. And then, Joanie, are you ready to kick it off?
I sure am.
You sure are. So I got to meet Jaci not too long ago over the phone. I've been having different reps come out to the school or talk to the school about their options when it comes to magnification. I know that Joanie can agree with this, but like when it comes to showing you guys your options in the world of electrolysis, there are many of them, but it's hard to find people because people typically don't know what electrolysis is. Mm-hmm. And we lucked out because I had just done an interview in the classroom and I was really eager about a certain product. And then Eileen sent you and I over a forms with Jaci's latest technology. And so I was like, oh, we got to get you on the podcast. So today we are going to pick your brain and allow you to actually present a little bit about like seeing the difference, like understanding what precision optics can do when it comes to design for vision. I am going to.
Well, I guess we can get started with, can you just tell us a little bit of the story behind Design for Vision and how you came to support such a wide range of professionals?
Sure. So Designs for Vision has been around since 1961. It is not a very new company. It started off as a low vision company, which basically what they did is helped legally blind people actually be able to see. And a surgeon came to the eye doctor that started Designs for Vision, Dr. Feinblum, and said, if you can help legally blind people see, you have to be able to help me see while I'm operating because I can't see. So together they came up with the very first pair of what are now called loops. And we had a patent on them for many, many years. We were the only company that actually drilled the telescopes into the frames, which is what the patent was on. So other loop companies started coming up and they were making what we call a flip up loop, that is a mass produced product versus something that is totally custom made. And Designs for Vision stands by the fact that the reason that we are the top in the industry is because everything about these glasses are 100% made on a per person basis. There's nothing about them that you can like really share with other people, or you can't just buy them online. You have to have a rep. And Designs for Vision proudly will tell you that we have a rep that covers everywhere in the country, as well as Canada, and we even have many international distributors.
So when it comes to the fact that you guys came from working in the space of helping people with a vision, like a visual aid, do you find that even to this day that those roots kind of pull forward? I know that like when we're working with visual aids, electrologists under magnification, we're like working with incredibly detailed ways. I think that it's important for us to start understanding like, why would professional optics from being a visual aid for somebody else then help, I would say, change the vision, change the sight in front of us when it comes to electrologists, how to go from a blind, like a visual aid for someone who is lacking full representation of their eyesight to a magnification tool like this. Like, what was that transition space?
So basically what our loops are taking a microscope that a doctor uses whenever they are working on, whether they're just doing research or whether they're actually doing surgery, or dentists have microscopes. What we did is take that microscope and put them directly on your eyes. So you're not trying to move around a $100,000 piece of equipment and you can move it from anywhere. It's not something that's stationary. So with this, we put the microscopes on your eyes, so then you're able to go, room to room, OR to OR. For this part, it's going, from just different client to client, but in your space, you're not going to buy $100,000 microscope. And that is kind of where designs really got ahead of people, was trying to make everybody that be able to afford a microscope that can't always have a microscope. You have
Yeah.
lower budget hospitals or lower budget dental offices that want to do that kind of work, and you have that surgeon, but they aren't going to provide the equipment that they need. So with a pair of loops, they are an affordable way to put the microscope directly on the doctor's face. And
Wow.
then for me, like, I worked in the surgical dental part of it with designs for 11 years. And then in 2020, one of the owners, because it is still a privately owned company by four people now, I'm sorry, came to me and said, there seems to be a real niche in the health and beauty industry. Would you be willing to go into it, head first, and see if we can make a new industry for the company of where there's a need and there's no one else there to fill it. So since 2020, that is what I've been doing.
That's
So
so
that beauty industry niche, I guess electrologists obviously are in there, but like who else has a
Oh,
need
sorry.
for surgical loops like this?
Okay, so that's our home office. We don't need to really watch that. So here we go. The
Oh,
industry is
there you
endless. um, Eyelash artists, microblading, permanent makeup, paramedical tattooing, electrologists, even people that just do, like, estheticians that just do facials. I've talked
go.
to a lot of electrologists that actually still do esthetician work as well, and do a lot of like dermaplaning and stuff like that. And you would use your loops instead of that. It's getting rid of your mag light. Any
Yeah.
esthetician I've ever spoke to hates their mag light. So
Oh
this
yeah.
is the idea of trying to get rid of that mag light, that big extra piece of equipment in your room that takes up so much room, that somebody told me once it's an extra limb I don't need. And you're always moving it. And in that case, with this, the glasses are always moving with you instead of you having to move that, moving
I don't know
the
if
mag
you do
light
any,
around.
but I have accidentally dropped more than once in my early career my mag light onto somebody because the foot and the arm went too far out, and it just, like, in the slow cascade of the mag light
And you
coming
like
down,
watched it happen.
where you can't, like, you're like, no, that has happened. And like the amount of times like I've caught cords around it and that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I went, when I first started out, and this is one of those funny moments where I tell my students about this. When I first started out as an electrologist, I was using a mag lamp and readers. Okay.
Mhm.
Mag lamp was metal. And I'm petite. And so I had a table that was stationary and a chair that wouldn't really raise too much. It was like a stool that you had to spin to get it
Yeah.
all the way up, but it only had so far. And so I would spin it so I could see on the taller table, and I would rest my chin on top of the metal of the mag lamp to keep it in place because it was like a behemoth. And then I would use my reader so I could see the hair. But the problem is because at the time I was doing a lot of galvanic current, and the metal of the lamp and the connection of my body and my face wasn't masked, right? Like I had my skin against the metal. I got chemical burns underneath my chin whenever I would work
Oh
because
my gosh.
so I have an extra special hate for the mag lamp because
Yes, I can see why you do.
heat up. So not a fan at all whatsoever. And it was a big change going from a mag lamp and not learning
Right.
that does exist. Like,
My first pairs were these, they were Eschenbach, and they were these little like binocular things that you would just kind of turn to get the focus right.
Mhm.
But they
yeah,
would come only in like predetermined
Yes, that's what I
magnifications.
was talking about. When we had the
Uh,
patent with the through the lens, the
yes.
other companies came out with the flip up ones that were mass
Yep.
produced, that you had to like fit into a range and try to make them work. And that causes a ton of strain on your eyes, because every time you look through them, your eyes are always trying to refocus to something that's not actually made to where your pupillary distance is.
This
oh
is
yeah.
actually a question that I get a lot from students at school. They ask about eye strain using these surgical loops. And so can you kind of expand a little bit on what you just said
Yes.
as far as like, does wearing these things, does it mess up your eyes over time? Is there, does it create extra strain that looking through a mag lamp maybe wouldn't do?
No. So here's the easiest answer. These are 100% custom made for you. So every time you look through them, you're looking through the dead center of the telescope, the optic center, as we call it. So anytime you come in and out of that magnification, your eyes are automatically focusing at where they should be. When you're using a mag light or a cheater or something like that, every time you come in and out, your eyes are trying to refocus. And any of you know that when you get that mag light or a reader, it takes that couple seconds to find that focal point. That is causing the stress on your eyes. That is causing the stress that you're feeling from the back of your head for your eyes to refocus. So every time you come in and out of that, your eyes are always straining to refocus. By putting these in the optic center of your eyes automatically focus every time they look through the telescope. If you think of it as a neurosurgeon that's wearing the exact same thing, every time they're in and out of that surgical field, they don't have that couple seconds to get their eyes to refocus again and then worry about, in a couple hours, your eyes are too tired to function anymore. So because you're always automatically focusing when you're looking back through the telescope, it's actually taking the strain off of your eyes. Now, another question is, do you become dependent on them? That is another question, kind of like, well, goes hand in hand with, do they cause your eye strain? And the answer is that you do become dependent on them because you learn how to see. Your naked eye can't see what magnification can make you see, especially with something as small as what you guys are doing. That hair follicle is so small. The naked eye cannot see that. In all honesty, a pair of 2 or 3 reader or a mag light isn't enough to see it either. So your eyes are still straining very, very hard to see something that it naturally cannot see. So at the end of the day, when your eyes are extremely tired, which I've had people tell me they have to wait to drive home because their eyes are so tired at the end of the day. They can't look at their cell phone because their eyes are like so strained from working all day long. Where with this, if you're using this and you're in and out of the magnification, it doesn't cause that strain that you're getting when you're doing this, regularly without using something that's customized for you.
Yeah,
We talk a lot to students about ergonomics and body strain and how to stay in the profession long term. And glasses are a big thing. I kind of talked about my first pair of Eschenbach. And one thing with those glasses, I used to use the 3X's. And the thing was that just like using a regular mag lamp, the working distance was all predetermined and it was very close. And so I think I did about 12 years with a pair of those,
Oh my.
maybe around there. I know. And it ended up messing up my neck, that's for sure. Like the head forward, like the neck issues. I definitely got some of those from that. And so I can't stress it enough, just how important ergonomics is and how much these things, little things like, well, little big things like glasses can help. How do your loops support better posture and reduce physical fatigue?
So ergonomics, as you were saying, you guys can see my pictures, right? With the girl on the right with the red X next to her
Yes.
shoulder. Okay. So anyone in this industry, whether it's you guys as an electrologist, a esthetician, an eyelash artist, you all sit like this. The goal is always to try to get you to sit like this. So here's how it works. So what we do is whenever you order a pair of loops, you have a rep that physically comes to you, whether it's at your school, at your studio, wherever it may be, and he or she does 3 measurements. The first one is the working distance, and that is the distance that from your eye to the part of your client's body that you're working at, okay? And Designs for Vision is the only company that will set that down to a half an inch. Like Joanie was talking about Joanie, I'm sorry, was talking about that lower working distance because they fit you in a range. So most companies will put you in like short, medium, long, extra long. So what that means is you're still kind of adjusting your body to the loops. What we do as a company is we set you right down to that half an inch of what's comfortable for you. So you're not adjusting your body to the loops, but the loops are adjusted to your body and what's a comfortable working position for you. And then how the ergonomic part of it works is that we're going to set you at a number, and I'm just going to give you an example, make up a generic number of 13 inches. Okay. With that 13 inches, now it depends on the magnification that you get, but the lowest magnification in this industry, in electrologists, would be a 2.5. A lot of people say it's not enough, but just to use it as an example, with a 2.5, you have 5 inches that you're able to move. So if we set you at that 13-inch mark, you have 2.5 inches on the top of that 13 inches. You have 2.5 inches below it. So you would dab down to 9, 10, 11 and a half, or 10 and a half, up to 15 and a half. In that range, everything is clear. Now, as you start to become more tired and fatigued throughout the day and you start to slouch and get closer, it gets blurry. So when it gets blurry, because you're out of that focal range, it forces you to sit back and put yourself into what that ergonomic range is for you.
It's funny that you say that because 2 years, well, I think it was 2 years ago, Joanne and I had a workshop that we were hosting. And, I forgot my loops. And I had to borrow Joannie's backup pair. And perspective, she's 5'11" and I'm, let's say 4'11. Okay.
Huge difference. Yeah, your working distance is very, very different.
Yes.
And so we found out that she was measured, I think, at 19 or 21 inches, and I was measured at 13 or 15 inches. So I tried to put on her loops, and I was trying to show a student something. I was like, hold on. And I was like, this is not how you're going to work with this like, because it was like, I felt like I needed go-go gadget arms in that moment because I was like really far away. And it's funny because when she's put mine on before, she's like, I have to get so close. It's like I am working like I used to work back before loops. And it is, typically, being smaller or taller is going to change how far you
Huge difference. Yes. Everyone is different. Every single person is different. Everyone's like, well, what's the right working distance? There is no right working distance. The right working distance is where you're comfortable without having to be all the way hunched over on top of your client to be able to see. So there is no right answer, but it is a matter of just what is comfortable for you. And that's the hardest. This is the hardest hurdle I have in this industry, everywhere from an eyelash artist to an electrologist, everywhere around, because you're so used to working so close. If you're not used to wearing magnification, like you said, you were working at 6 inches before, it is so hard to retrain yourself for you to go to that 6 inches to 20 inches away. It's a whole way of working. And that
So
is
there's
the hardest problem that I have.
there tends to be a learning curve when it comes to like
Yes.
somebody getting loops for the first time. I have some students, they get nauseous and things like that. Like, what do you think is the main reason for something like that? Like, who kind of gets that issue more than others?
People that are super prone to headaches. I have people that are just very prone to having headaches. And it's like a learning curve of getting past that. And usually what I'll tell people, use them for 5 minutes, take them off, put them on for your next client, try to make it 10 minutes. By the next week, you keep them on, you don't even realize you have them on anymore. If it's making you dizzy or nauseous, a lot of the times there might be something off with the measurements. Like if you're measured at your working distance of 12 inches, but yet you're trying to work at 9 inches, you're going to get dizzy. You might get nauseous because you're not working at where they're set for you. So you may need an adjustment, which is why it's always nice when you buy them to know that you have a rep that is locally able to come to you and work with you for any adjustments or problems that you would have.
Nice. I have one of the big things that I've noticed ever since getting loops was also taking myself out of utilizing a secondary light source and moving to the headlight source. I really do love your lighting systems, and pretty much, I'm gonna be so honest, I have a lot of lighting systems, and I like pretty much anything I can put into like I want to say like a big focus, but I really do like the lighting systems. With yours, what I've noticed is it's so incredibly crisp and bright, but I didn't quite understand like the whole thing about lumens. I didn't understand about like,
No
now,
one does.
yeah, right.
No one does. It's a mystery.
Because every company tells you them differently. Some of them are lumens.
Yeah.
Some of them are, I can't even remember. There's so many different ones. And I've been out of the medical industry of people asking me this anymore. But
Okay.
basically, like what makes the one thing that we have about our light that is a patented thing is our high definition system. And what it is, it's a very crisp, clear circle. Our older lights and some of the lights that I still use in the, let's say, eyelash industry, because the light is so directly on the client's eye, we use one that the light is more spread out versus focused in that one big, nice, crisp circle. And most of the other companies, their light is more diffused like that. So you're not getting that super bright center of the light. Does that make sense?
Very much so. I
Okay.
very much love the bright center. Although I always say gremlin mode. I love to work in the dark. I want to have a spotlight on your face. The only time I don't like having the spotlight on someone's face is when I'm working on the brows.
Yes, because it's
I
just
feel
too
like
bright. You don't want to blind your client. So
Exactly.
that is why we do have both. And somebody that does like a ton of permanent makeup and they're doing a lot of brows or a lot of liner or eyelashes, I would never try to tell them that they should have that high definition light.
Okay.
But for you guys, for what you do, you can't have too much
Like
light.
it's needed. It is
Yes,
needed.
Have you ever noticed where like the
you
light
cannot get enough.
makes the skin shiny and then it's hard to see?
Yeah, I have.
So what is that, like too much lighting? Is it too strong? Too many lumens? I don't
So
know.
I've had it where like if you're too close, if you're working at 8 or 9 inches right here, like on someone's face, you will get like almost blind. I don't want to say it's blinding, but it's almost like that. You
I mean,
can't even
it
see
washes
Like you
out the
can't
skin.
actually see
Yeah.
the skin. You're just seeing the light.
Mhm.
Which is why we also have the less brighter ones for people that have these lower working distances because you
Mhm.
can't see that way, obviously. And so the closer you are, the brighter it's going to be in that spot, obviously.
Right.
Now we have a wired light that has that high definition, but it has a higher and a lower setting.
Okay.
So you can kind of still use that one both, but not if you have a client that's super what is the word I'm trying to say? Like that it's going to really bother their eyes, that they're
Mhm.
very
Light sensitive.
sensitive. Thank you. Light, very sensitive to the light, then you're not going to be able to use it on them. And I'm
Gotcha.
not here to sell you something that, I don't want you to buy something you can't use. If you do a lot of brows, if brows is your specialty and that's what you go to the most, I would tell you to not have that super high intensity light, that you probably would want the one that's more dispersed and you're
Mhm.
not going to actually just blind someone directly in their eye. But if you're doing a lot of stuff on the body, on the arms, legs, the rest of the face, the higher definition light is great for you.
Yeah, I definitely think that like between the intensity of the light, learning how to use loops, learning how to do electrolysis, especially with our students, like those three things all at once lead to like a very stressed out student. And so like when you talked about like kind of like 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, it's like you're kind of like doing the reps for your eye muscles to get used to it
Mhm.
because we kind of, those old pictures from back in the 90s where it was like you relax your eyes to see the picture.
Oh
We do
yeah.
that as electrologists, we relax our eyes to be able to stare essentially for a long period of time. And I think that like a lot of times when people come into this industry, when you go into loops, and I know that dentists do it because I stare at my dentist when they're working. I see them like kind of like, I see their eyeballs go a little bit
You're the
wide
one
for a
creepy
second.
client that just has their eyeballs and they're just staring up.
Do every
Oh my
time.
God. I have a client like that, poor thing. I feel very stared at. Yeah, she just stares at me. I don't
I
know if
do it
she
to my
blinks.
dentist too, so
Oh my
I get it.
goodness.
Where else are we gonna look?
Yes.
I'm not looking up your nostril. You're wearing a mask. We're fine.
Yeah, and
Like,
you can't help it because you know what they're seeing. So it's like you're
Yeah.
looking at them to like see what it looks like on the other side, like what your clients
Mhm.
usually see.
Yep. Yep.
when we talk about like training and fitting and like getting to know that, when someone's before they go for their loops appointment with their rep, I think that like something that is smart to do that is like get like your freshest prescription and have them understand that this prescription is going to go into a carrier lens and a loop if that's the way you guys do it. What are we like? Let's talk about what that looks like when it comes to what are the steps they should be doing before they come in for or before they meet up with a rep.
Okay, if you wear glasses all the time,
Mhm.
100% Stephanie, you do want to have your, most recent eyeglass prescription
Okay.
from your doctor. Do I say you have to have one 6 months after you met with them, then meet with a rep? No.
Mm.
Typically, by the time you hit 25 in your life, your eyes, or even a little bit more than 25, between the 20, 23, your eyes get pretty much stabilized. Where,
Okay.
when you're in your teens and stuff and your eyes are changing dramatically every prescription, by the time you hit that 20 to 25 mark, your eyes might change a quarter of a diopter every other year or once a year. You'll
Okay.
never notice that in your loops. This is not something that it's not like your regular glasses. It's not like you have to go get them updated, every time that your regular glass prescription updates. Now, if you wear contacts, you don't need to do anything. Your contacts will fix all of your eyes. You won't have to worry about any sort of prescription in your loops. As your contacts change, it will change with your loops. It's not going to matter. But with the telescope, with the loops in your prescription, we do put the telescope in the carrier lens as well as in the telescope. And one of the biggest reasons, there's two good reasons that we put it in the telescope. Not every company does it. I can't tell you who does and who doesn't, but I know not everyone does. But one of the reasons is with an astigmatism, it makes your eyes harder to focus.
Mhm.
So if you put the astigmatism correction in the telescope, it's also going to help your eyes focus easier. And then also it counteracts with your working distance. So if you don't have a correction in your telescope itself, it
Mhm.
will, if we set you at 12 inches for your working distance, you may be focusing at 6 inches. So
Oh,
we have to make sure that you're corrected within that telescope, whether it's with a contact or with us putting the prescription directly into the glasses.
good to know. That is very good to know because definitely, I mean, like I think my astigmatism was built into my early glasses. But in my
Mhm.
older years, I went with just like generic because I was like, well, if the students need to borrow my glasses and that kind of stuff,
You see,
I
you
won't
gotta
put
worry about
anything in
yourself,
there.
Stephanie.
You're right. I got to worry about me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
worry about you.
yeah. So I could get them hooked on loops is what I was trying to do. But it definitely was something I did notice after getting out of the ones with my astigmatism. I, as a practitioner, should probably put that back in there.
Yes, yes, I would highly, highly recommend that because it's just taking more strain off of your eyes. Because with that astigmatism, it makes it harder for your eyes to focus. So if you don't have it, you don't have that correction, you're just you're doing a disservice to your own eyes, to yourself.
Gotcha. All right. I'm listening. I'm hearing.
Again, if you read my sign now, longevity in your career, the better you take care of yourself, the longer you're going to be able to work.
Yeah, it's so true.
If somebody were to try to meet with a rep like you, sometimes I've had students like meet up with people at a Starbucks, and I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like you should try to replicate your real working environment as much
Environment.
as possible,
Mhm.
Mm.
so
I
it's like,
agree. And
yeah,
we've had to make it work at a Starbucks, just like we have to make it work at a trade show
sure.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Try to do it the best we can. But, you have some people that own studios or, places that they don't want the reps to come in there,
Mm.
or they don't want, they can't make their times work because they only work Wednesday nights from 5 to 9, whatever. And I did just recently sit down with every rep in the company and go over, and we did like a Zoom thing to go over how to measure working distances for you and how it's different versus a doctor. A doctor is trained, whether it's a dentist, mostly like a dentist, for instance, who sits most of the time. They are
Mm.
trained to have their arms at a 90-degree angle and sit perfectly
Hmm.
straight like this. You guys are never going to sit like that. Let's be
No.
serious. Most of your arms are like at like a V, more of a 40-degree angle than that
Yeah.
Mhm.
a 45-degree angle, more than that 90-degree angle. And
Mhm.
if you're used to working at 6 inches, most people are not going to go directly to 20. Where a dentist or a hygienist in school, they're graded on how they sit. And they're
Mm.
taught from day one to sit perfectly straight with your arms at a 90-degree angle. So that's the way that they're taught. That's how they learn to practice. And they learn to practice because their first month of school, they have loop companies come in, they all get measured and they all get set, and they all have to have a pair of loops to learn how to work.
Wow.
Most people in this
I
industry
wish we
learn
could
how
do
to work
that.
without them. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, okay, what am I how do I make that happen? Like
Uh-huh.
Right.
So it's a matter of learning that instead of having somebody at that 90-degree angle sitting perfectly straight, basically what we're doing is I can't move your arms as much as I would love to move your arms down to that 90-degree angle. It's not going to happen. So
Mhm.
what we're really trying to do is just kind of relax your shoulders because your shoulders get so tensed up when you go to work, and just kind of pull your head back and drop your arms a little bit. So it's more of a relaxing your body versus trying to
I
completely change the way that you work.
I always thought, because we work on the whole entire body and some things will be closer to our bodies, some things are going to be further away depending on what we're working on. I was never a fan of the ergo loops that came out.
I
I
have a
did
sign in there.
see,
That's a totally a preference. Ugh,
well,
it's
because
unnatural.
I feel like they're made for dentists where the head is close to the body. But
Mhm.
if we're working on, for example, the opposite side of the body, what I've noticed is that the angle is just too steep.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of my students end up kind of arching their back, and like their chin goes up just to be able to reach a little further out.
Mhm.
And so, do you guys vary the inclination angle?
It can vary a little bit. I mean, in all honesty, I agree with you. A dentist, the patient's mouth is right underneath them. There's certain surgeons, like for instance, Lemmy's like I've dealt with a surgeons, like a brain surgeon or a spine surgeon, loves them because they're looking straight down.
Sure.
A
Yeah.
cardiothoracic surgeon working with their arms out a little bit further. It's a little bit
Yeah.
harder to be able to see that way.
Yeah.
To me, now, if you look at this picture, this girl is doing a set of lashes,
Mhm.
but she's looking straight ahead, and the lashes are down by
But
her.
lashes, again, that would be perfect. Like
But
facials, I feel like
get,
it
but I think
works.
for any of it, it's unnatural. Like it's just not a natural way to work to me.
Mm.
If you're
Yeah.
looking straight, but your hands are down here, I think it's very, very. There's even a much
So you're
larger
not a fan
learning
of
curve.
these either?
I
Not
don't
your
want to say I'm
favorites?
not a fan of them. I just want to say that they are certainly not something I would ever tell somebody to get as their first pair of loops. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Learn how to
Okay.
use magnification first. It's like taking baby steps
Mhm.
versus jumping in the pool head first. Like, would I tell anybody to say they
Mhm.
should be your first pair of loops and learn how to work like this?
Mhm.
Absolutely not. Because it's just, to me, I don't think it's anything is natural. If you want to paint your nails and you're looking straight ahead, it's weird to paint your nails down by your belly button while you're looking straight ahead. So it's
Yeah.
just, to me, a harder learning curve than already it
Okay.
is when it comes to just learning how to wear magnification.
The only time I like, because I have a pair of ergos, because I was like, I wanted to have like one of each so that
Mhm.
I could speak on them well. And I like my ergos when I'm doing eyebrows, upper lip, and testing students during practical, because I could be zooming around the room and like I'm already looking down over the area. It's easier in that space during that time. But it's disarming when people walk into the room and you're wearing loops, because it looks like you're like dissociating during electrolysis.
Uh-huh.
And I also like what you were talking about, Joanie, like when I'm working like kind of midsection on someone's belly, what I was
Mhm.
as I was doing this number, like where I was kind of just
Yep.
like leaning back to see the center of their body. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
Like,
not ergonomically correct.
no,
You do
Yeah,
not want, as much
exactly.
as you don't want to go all the way forward, you don't want it to
Yeah.
go all the way back either. It's
Right.
also not like an
Right.
ergonomically correct way to work.
Yeah. Super great for eyebrow people. Like that's,
I
and
can see that. Yep, because
yeah.
it's going straight down. But
Yep.
for my advice would be in this industry, like in as an electrologist, whether you're a student or have done it for 30 years, I would tell you to get something that you could use for everything versus something that you would just want to use for just this procedure, then versus, just this procedure. Like a
Mhm.
general surgeon might have 3 different magnifications for 3 different types of surgeries that he's doing. But for this industry, I would say learn how to use a regular pair of loops first, which is what's on here. And
Mhm.
these are like the standard, what I would tell people to go with. And it's basically we were talking, Stephanie, about the Galilean telescope, which is that top one in the red frame. And then a prismatic telescope here is in the middle. And then the bottom is what we call a panoramic telescope. And
Oh,
that is a patent that we have. And that is for just the largest field of view that you're going to get at a higher magnification.
wow.
The
I don't think I've
downfall to
seen
these,
those.
what's
Mm.
that?
I said I don't think I've tried one of these. I'll have to see it next time
They're
the rep
newer.
comes
They are.
by.
Well, I mean, we've had them for a good 5 years, but they just give you a much broader field size.
Mhm.
Now, the downfall, which anyone can tell by looking at these, is when you're checking the weight differences.
Sure. They look heavy.
The Galilean telescope up here, which is obviously going to be the least amount of weight on your face, versus the micro expanded field, which is a prismatic telescope with as much taken out of it as possible to make it lighter. But
Yeah.
then with this panoramic telescope, you need a whole lot there. There's a whole lot of lenses to make that panoramic view. And the lenses are made of glass. So that's where
I
you're
know
getting
that
the weight.
I know that we had talked about earlier how, none of us are really fans of the Galileans as, for this field, that we feel that the prismatics are kind of the way to start. But I know that from, student feedback with companies that come through and them trying out different things, they tend to like the Galileans only because it gives them such a wider field of view. It's more like the mag lamps.
Yeah.
Which,
Yes.
I never felt like it was necessary to see the whole entire leg if you're just working, on a hair at a time. But I understand the idea. And so maybe those panoramic ones might be kind of interesting.
Yep. And the
Uh,
prismatic ones in the middle, the micro expanded field there, that is kind of in between. That is going to give you a larger field size than the Galilean. So
mhm.
what happens with a Galilean telescope? which for those of you that aren't familiar with this wording, is just like a shorter regular telescope that you guys have all probably seen. Let me see. I know. Can you guys see me or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, okay. So a regular Galilean telescope is just a small telescope like this. It's going to be the lightest weight because it's the smallest. And then when you go into prismatic telescopes, they get longer, which means they get bigger. Now, with the Galilean telescope, as you go up in magnification, you lose your field size. So with a 2.5, you get, let's see, at 3.5, you get 4.5 centimeters. I want to say it's like 8 centimeters you get as far as a field size. And the field size is how much of the body you can see at one time, whether it's how much of the arm you can see. So the 2.5, you may get that 8 centimeters, but you're not getting the detail as when you go into a 3.5 and you're only getting 4 centimeters, but the follicle is looking bigger. But instead of seeing 8 centimeters, you're cutting it in half and seeing 4 centimeters. So then when you go into the prismatic telescopes, that's what it is the best of both worlds. You're getting that higher magnification with that larger field, but the trade-off is you're adding more weight.
it's interesting because so Eileen, who's on the call now, you've gotten to meet with her before, Jackie, and Eileen is the reason that we found you. So she's here too, and so she got to try the new panoramic ones. She made this tool that it used to exist in the world of electrology. We are doing a research project. We made them again, which it's hard to see like truly, but it's basically this little rectangle up here. And basically it's got 7 by 5 on the squares, and there's a centimeter squared on the full box. Okay. So like, you have 35 centimeters squared in that space. And when you said that, like, I mean, I'm thinking of how much area this would cover on my face. That's my entire cheek. So you're still seeing your entire cheek. It's not like you're seeing like in a span of 8 centimeters. If this tool is 7 by 5, that is my whole entire cheek or my whole entire chin or my underside of my chin, right? In that zone, that's a lot of workspace. And like, I mean, that's a lot of,
again, kind of unnecessary, right? I mean, you don't really need to see that much.
Agreed.
I understand.
Comparing it to like a dentist, and this is most electrologists agree with me when I use this analogy, is a dentist is only using one tooth at a time. So he doesn't care what's happening over here.
Right.
Now, a dental hygienist wants to see the entire mouth because they're worried about facial expressions. They're worried about if they're hurting somebody, where a dentist is only at one point. An eyelash artist might care about seeing both eyes to try to line up the lashes. You guys are focused on one follicle at a time. So how much of a field do you need? It's a comfort. It's 100% a comfort thing. Like you said before, it's like a mag light. People are used to seeing the whole face. So that's the way they want to work. Do they really need to see the whole face? No.
Today, we want to shine some light on some of our amazing partners who are helping shape the future of electrology education, services, distribution, and so much more. We're thrilled to have such amazing partners and supporters. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned professional, these vendors and schools have what you need to succeed. When it comes to top-tier machines, look no further than Aesthetic Systems. They offer the latest in technology for both the electrology and aesthetics industry. Their machines, furniture, and more are known for reliability and precision, helping the professionals deliver the best results to their clients. Stay ahead of the curve with Aesthetic Systems' innovative tools. You can learn more about them at aestheticsystems.com. That's aestheticsystems.com. Heading to the Golden State, California Electrology Academy offers an immersive learning experience that prepares students for national certification as well as many states with reciprocity to California's licensing exams. Led by Joanie and Joanne Gonella, they bring decades of quality services and education. CEA offers flexible schedules, open enrollment, and a supportive learning environment, making them a perfect place to start your electrology journey. Be sure to check them out for cutting-edge education right in sunny Southern California. And visit electrologyacademy.com. That's electrologyacademy.com.
Hey everyone, Stephanie here with Electrolysis Unplugged. Today we are talking about the Maryland Electrolysis Education Center. Dreaming of a career in permanent hair removal? MEEC is here to turn your dream into reality. MEEC offers a 650-hour hybrid program. That means part online and part in person, designed for your busy life. And get this, it's fully approved by the Maryland Higher Education Commission and the Maryland Board of Nursing Electrology Practice Committee. Graduate with confidence knowing that you're prepped and ready to sit for your Maryland Electrology licensure exams. Start your journey today by visiting mdelectrolysiseducation.com. Shoot an email over to director@mdelectrolysiseducation.com or call 240-280-8124 to learn more. That's Maryland Electrolysis Education Center, where your future in electrology begins.
Thanks for tuning in to Electrolysis Unplugged. Be sure to check out our amazing sponsors for the best in electrology tools, training, technology, and so much more. Now, back to the show.
But
There's actually a
it's
question
changed.
in the chat that says, Sue says, what's the correct way to measure working distance? As a mag lamp user, my loop rep asks me, and my answer is, I don't know. This is where my lamp is. They don't really have the the rep
And
is
know-how, I guess. Yeah.
know-how in that space. And she's been a mag lamp user and was not taught in the loop space. So
Okay.
how would she properly know as an electrologist when she meets with her rep the next time what her working distance should be to answer the rep? I mean, I think the
Okay,
rep
so
should know,
I
but-
hope this isn't a design supervision rep that asked you to figure out where your working distance is, because we are absolutely not trained to do that. Our job is to come in and figure out exactly where your working distance is. So with a mag light, and this is one of the other big questions I get and people get confused, is people are like, well, I already have a 3, so I need something higher. A 3 mag light and a 3 loop of our loops are totally different. They are not apples to apples. You cannot compare them that way. So depending on the way a mag light works, the higher the magnification, the closer you have to get it into focus. So if you have a mag light at a 2.5, you might be at 6 inches. But if you go to a 4, you might be down at 4 inches. So just because you're using your mag light at that 4 inches to be in focus doesn't necessarily mean that's where you should be working ergonomically. That is just where you have to be for that mag light to work. What I would tell you when your rep comes in to see you is you show them exactly where, if this, and I always say the best way to do it is if you have a model with you, if you have a coworker or you have a client or someone that can be there and you can feel like you're really working and measuring, basically what the rep should be measuring is where you're putting your tool onto your client's body from that point to your eye. And again,
With you setting up straight.
Mm-hmm.
it should not be where the mag light is forcing you to be. It should be what's a comfortable position for you.
Gotcha. So so Sue, a great way to think about this is it's time for you to have them there when there's a body on the table so they can see, because they know their product, they can see where you look best seated in the perfect scenario to get into that follicle without a mag lamp in front of your face.
Yes, because the mag light is going to force you to work at a specific distance. You are adjusting yourself to where the mag light is. And that's hard because, and again, there's where the learning curve comes. Because when you get them, that mag light, you've been working at 4 inches for so long, and that's where you think you're comfortable. So when you get your loops 4 weeks later after you order them, and you still try to work at that 4-inch distance, it's blurry. And people are like, I can't see. I hate these things. I can't see. Because they're not set for you to work at 4 inches. They're set for you to work at 12 inches.
And Sue wants to unmute here. So go ahead, Sue, and unmute
So,
yourself
and
if you want to chime in.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So and that's where my issue is with I have astigmatism, I get motion sick. What magnification loops do you want? I don't know. What's your working distance? I don't know. I've been using a mag lamp for the entire time that I've been doing business. So when someone comes in and they're the rep and they ask me, what do I want? And I have absolutely no idea.
Of course.
I bought loops last November and they're still sitting on a shelf because I can't wear them without getting severely motion sick, and my body has to be craned in a position that is even more uncomfortable to me than what it is with the mag lamp. And then when I ask my rep, they're just like, well, where do you want your working distance to be? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
So did
Like,
you buy these from Designs for Vision?
no.
Okay.
Um,
Because I
I
will have
can't
a rep out
remember
to
who.
you to get this fixed. I want to make sure. Um,
Going to war. Jackie's ready.
because
Yeah,
we are absolutely
it's
not trained for this.
yeah, I
No.
have purchased from two
Um,
different companies and all of them have been the same thing. What mag do you want and what working distance do you want? I'm like, I have zero idea. I have no
Of course you
idea.
don't, because you're not a loop rep. You're not
Yes.
trained in loops. Like I don't know how to take a hair. I don't know how to, zap a hair
Yes.
follicle.
Yep.
So when it comes to it, there should be a rep with you at your bedside or at your chair. Whether I don't know. I think most of you put people in a bed. Everyone works a little
Yep.
bit differently, but in your studio, in your environment, measuring on how you like to work. And as a reps, we bring you all the different magnifications for you to try on. Okay. And if I'm with you, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. So here's a 2.5. This is the standard, most popular magnification all along the board for anyone that wears loops. It gives you a nice big field size. It gives you a good magnification. It's easy to kind of move around a little bit so you're not stuck in one spot. All right. So you might look at this on and say, oh, I still feel like I need more magnification. Okay. So now I'm going to hand you a 3 and you're going to try the 3 on. And you might say, I don't know. This field got a little bit more narrow. I don't know if I like that. Okay. So, all right, Sue. So now I'm going to give you a 3 prismatic one that's going to give you that same 3 magnification, but at a prismatic at a larger area of the body. It's kind of like Goldilocks. You're going to try on a bunch of stuff until you decide what looks the best for you. There's no right answer. There's no right answer for an electrologist. There's no right answer for a cardiac surgeon, and there's no right answer for a dentist. It's 100% where you're comfortable. It is not, like I said, it's all a preference. And I tell people that all the time. People want to know what's the right working distance and what's the right magnification. There's no right answer. It is 100% a personal preference. And that is not everybody in any industry works the same, feels the same about what they see. And there's the only thing that's right is what's comfortable for you.
In cases like hers, where she's kind of, I'm sure she's at her wit's end because I would be.
I would be too.
Yeah. When you go to the website and you go like find a rep, are they doing it by zip code or would it be best for like maybe people who are interested to drop their zip code in the chat? Or would it be like, what's the smartest way for them to find a rep who cares? And I say that because to me, I'm going to tell you, like hearing her story right there, that's someone who's just kind of showing up and grabbing a dollar bill, not someone who's trying to make my day better.
I agree.
Yeah, like I tell reps all the time, you don't need to wow me. I have loops, okay? But you need to make sure my students are set up because they need to be able to thrive. Now, I also need to make sure that my loops are performing well so that when I do electrolysis, right, that I'm doing the best for me. But the focus is on the person and the time spent. I mean, like we had one rep that would come in like a little tornado and it would always be stressful. And I'd say, you need to slow down because this is an investment in their future and they need to be able to ask questions and have a slow response. So there is another thing saying, is there any distributors for design provision outside the States in Southeast Asia? Specifically, she's in Malaysia and in the Singapore area.
I'd have to look it up. We have international reps. I don't know specifically exactly where they are.
Okay.
Some of our problems is some of our international they're distributors is what they are.
Yeah.
They're international distributors and some of them will only work with the surgical market. Some of them will only work with the dental market. Some of them will work with everything. Some of them, it just depends. At the end, I'll give you guys, and if you want to give it out to everybody, my direct email address where they can email me and I can find out exactly where the reps are for what they need. And yes, it goes by zip code. But it also goes by companies. I have learned by going to some of these beauty shows, and there's all of a sudden these pop-up loop companies that just want to may have you make a knee-jerk reaction and purchase something at the show. And then you go home and you need a rep and they don't have a rep. There is no local rep to come out to you and help you. There is no local rep to come and work with an adjustment. They want to walk you through the phone on how to change this and how to measure your working distance. And so to me, one of the most important things when you're buying loops That's your first question. Do I have a local rep that's going to come help me? You know, and you say the one comes in like a tornado, and I know we have reps guilty of this. So because they're used to working with doctors. A doctor
Mhm.
has this much time. They know what they want. They just want you to come in. They want to measure. They want you out of they want you out of there as quickly as possible. And that is
Mhm.
the way that we're all trained, and that's our mindset. So what
Yeah.
I've been doing with designs revision since I took this over 5 years ago is I get all the leads. Anyone that goes to designs revision and says they want to see a rep and they're in any way of the beauty industry, I call them first. I vet them
Yep.
out. I talk to them. I try to answer as many of these questions as I can before the rep actually walks into your studio, to try to talk to you in your language versus what they're used to talking to you at.
Mhm.
And I do think that I know Designs is the only loop company that has tried to make an actual industry
Yeah.
for design for the beauty world.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in all honesty, it's much smaller than the medical world. We do come in at a lower price point in the beauty world than we do in the medical world because we understand that I know you guys make a good living, but I'm doubting you're making the same as a neurosurgeon. So, and I know from selling loops, I don't either. So, but, you know, we are trying to give you a better idea of what loops are. And there's like, because of those companies that show up at shows and want you to make a knee jerk reaction, I have people that come to my booth, oh, I have loops and I hate them. And I mentioned the company and they're like, yep. And I was like, but we're not the same. You know, like when you leave here and you buy these loops and in 4 weeks, if you get them, you know, I'm going to email you. And I do, I email it to my email says checking in on your new loops. That's the subject. And if you need an adjustment, we're going to have a rep that comes to you. And if I find out that they said that they come in, they don't care, or they ask you what your working distance is supposed to be, we're going
Yeah.
directly to their boss because that's not the way any of us are trained.
Yeah.
Cut
Yeah, it
design
sounds like
supervision
Sue
has
had
always
to.
been huge on customer service. It's a very big part of it.
Yeah, sounds
Absolutely.
like Sue definitely had a bad string of poor customer service, and
Yes.
unfortunately.
Absolutely.
We have about 9 minutes left. Carly, we are going to drop Jackie's email, so you can definitely, all of you, direct questions about local
Do I have it at
reps
the end here?
to her, and she'll take care of it for sure.
Oh my gosh. Arizona, Tim Baum was my rep out there. I don't know if he's still around, but because Carly had messaged that. But is Tim still a rep?
Very part-time.
I'm like, he was like, I think I'm going to retire. And I'm like, I don't think you'll ever retire, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's why it's very. I love Tim. Tim is one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So, but maybe
He's
it's
really
because related to the people that did the guy from the Wizard of Oz. But.
That's so
So for the little bit
What
of time
about-
that's left, how about we go into what are some innovations and things in the future? I know we talked a little bit about something that Stephanie and I are very interested in. And so you're one of the few companies that actually does have something like that. So maybe that's something that you can kind of discuss with us a little bit.
Yeah, it's a camera. It's a nano camera. It's called a nano camera is what it's called. And it attaches directly onto your loops the same way that a light would. And it is and what is very nice about it, like people are like, oh, I can use a GoPro. But we provide you with a magnification lens of whatever magnification you're using. So if you're using a 3.5 pair of loops, there's a 3.5 magnification lens that you're videoing in. So then everyone's actually, whoever's watching it, whether you're training, whether you're social mediaing, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're, you know, looking at other people's work, they are seeing exactly what you're seeing.
That is, I can't wait to try it out. Like, honestly, a little bit salivating. Like when I think about all the videos I could be making.
Yeah.
And these girls know I do love to showcase that kind of stuff on my socials. But are you seeing a big change in the dental industry with people using them? Are you seeing them much in the beauty world yet?
And I can't speak for the dental world. I'm so far removed from the medical part of this stuff. Like I don't know. But I have sold them in the beauty industry. If I would tell you a total in 5 years, maybe 10-ish.
Okay.
So not a ton. But in all honesty, we just got the software and everything up and running to the point that it's working very well without a bunch of flaws within the last like 2.5 years, if I had to kind of guess. When we first came up with, well, this is our second generation, excuse me. The first generation, we had a lot of problems. I won't deny it. When it came to surgical, dental, we had a lot of problems. It was new. So this is our second generation, and only within the last couple years would I be able to say it's pretty flawless. So
There was a
reps
question
really weren't
about
pushing it either because they were a headache for us, like we
sure.
couldn't.
Yeah.
So now I have confidence to tell you that we have, I think,
Perfect.
finally actually mastered the camera, but it was a long time coming.
So there's a
Um,
question in the chat that asks, this nano camera, can it be used with other loops? So does it come with a separate attachment that you put on, or is it you have to
You
have
can,
design for
it
vision
attaches
loops?
onto your loops the same way our lights attach. And what it
Okay.
is, a little T mount on the top of your loops right here. If you can see it, this little black piece right here, it's a T
Mhm.
mount. So the camera attaches directly on like that. Here I have
What if you have a light there already?
the light you can attach directly onto the camera as well.
Okay.
So I got it right here. I'll show you the light, the camera. Sorry. It's this little guy right here. So this attaches onto the bridge of your loops. And on this, there's also an attachment where the light goes. You have to use light when you're using this camera.
Yes.
Whether it's an
Yes.
overhead light or this light that you attach directly onto it, you have to use light. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see. And then this whole piece attaches onto your loop.
Now
Yes.
tell us truly,
right
how
there.
much does it cost?
I know. I need it. I'm sold. Is it heavy?
He's like, take my money.
I'm not going to tell you it doesn't weigh anything. I mean, you got to wear your strap.
I mean, you're
when
adding
you're
stuff.
wearing
Yeah.
it. So yes, and the camera comes in so many different pieces. The very, very basic is HDI. I should know this better. NanoCam.
Could you also talk about the foot pedal option, the hands-free option too? Because I know
We
that
have
costs
a foot
extra.
pedal. That is
Yeah.
definitely extra. The basic camera is $27.95. There is a discount within here that we can always talk about. Just being in the beauty world. But that is the basic, which comes with the software, one magnifying lens, and the camera. And yes, you can add on the foot pedal at any time. And you can also use a Droid phone instead of having to be connected to a computer, like a laptop. There is software on a Droid. Last I heard, they
Not
were
on
working with the
not on an Apple. Yeah.
Apple's hard to work with.
Yeah.
Apple wants everything to be Apple.
Yeah.
So I do know that we were working with a company on getting the software, and I can't speak for sure if it ever fully happened or not.
Can you
I
do
mean-
it straight to social media?
No, it'll save as a file on your computer, then you can edit it.
So, I mean, basically then you could buy like an unlocked Droid
Yes.
and then drop that into your pocket so you're not on a laptop.
Yes.
My time frame. Ooh, that's nice.
Yes, exactly.
It's
Does the attachment for the light and that you have you said your little T whatever, is it similar to what other companies use? So you would be able to potentially attach the camera to a different brand loops?
So like if you had a different company loops, yes.
Yeah.
We would just have to know the company and the frame,
Okay.
and then we would supply you with the proper attachment that goes onto there.
okay.
Oh, okay. That's nice. There was a question about Wi-Fi connection.
You do not need a Wi-Fi connection for it because you are wired to, whether it's a Droid, like a phone or a computer, you are physically wired to it.
Okay.
That's
And Sue, I think, is in love with the panoramic loops.
yeah.
Ah,
So
see, they
basically
are. I
what
mean, they're
we're
great. I mean,
doing-
people love them. They're just, you're adding weight. I mean, they're going to be a little bit heavier.
So anybody that's on there now, like on the call now, I would take a moment and write down her information.
Yep, it's my direct cell phone, my direct email, call, text, email, whatever is the best. Sometimes it's a lot to try to talk about via text, so don't be afraid to call. I'm a talker.
Yeah, I did love that about you because I cannot stand text messaging.
Me
And my
either.
loves it. And I'm just like, give me the phone. I'm like, I just need to
Yes.
call you and talk to you.
Yes.
Get it done. Cause it's just a thing. But we really appreciate you being on here today.
Yes.
This was a treat. And so thank you.
Thanks. I enjoyed it.
I mean, you're not the only East Coaster, but whenever we have an East Coaster that is choosing to talk during the time, it is helpful to have someone so enthusiastic about their.
Well, I really care about it. I liked my job for 10 years in the medical world, but I gotta say, this is a whole different world. And it's so nice because you guys are so thankful. Like, you didn't know you could work and not be in pain.
Yeah.
People had no idea that they didn't have to work and hurt all the time. So it's fun to be able to explain this to people and give them hope and give them the idea of being able to lengthen their careers.
And then you said the email that's on here on the screen is your direct email.
And that is directly to me.
When we put this up in Mentorship Hours archive for those individuals, we'll drop that also into the notes section. And then when it's released as a pod in a couple weeks, it'll be also in the description there. That way people can get their eyeballs happy, healthy, and whole.
Yes. And then
That's
at the
right.
bottom is our Instagram that is just for like the beauty people. So
cool.
you can also DM
Okay.
us on there and that will come directly to me as well.
Very cool. I love to see it. I'm going to just, before I forget, take that. Very cool. Very, very cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jackie,
Thank you,
for
guys.
joining us.
I look forward to hearing from a lot of you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And Stephanie, I'm going to get you set up with that camera here shortly.
Awesome. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
That was so good. Huge thank you to Jackie for joining us and shining some light, literally, on what it means to work with clarity and confidence.
Whether you're just graduating or have been practicing for years, your eyes, your neck, and your clients will thank you for investing in precision tools.
You can find more info and schedule a consultation at designprovision.com. We hope to see you at an upcoming event soon.
Until then, like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend who's currently dying at work from the pretzels we're putting ourselves into trying to see the hair.